original.
Hello, and welcome to Webcrawlers, the podcast where we do a deep dive into some of our favorite mysteries. Each week, we will introduce our topic, lay out our research and findings, reveal some conspiracy theories, and conclude with our own hypothesis. I am Allie Siegel.
I am Melissa Stettin.
And I, producer Maria.
Melissa, who are our beautiful and lovely patrons for today?
We've got Kelly, Laura, and Emma.
Guys, welcome to the team. We are so happy to have you. You know what I just realized? We should do a patron-only Discord channel.
Oh, interesting.
Right. That could be kind of cool. Like do another separate channel on the Discord where it's only patrons are allowed.
Ooh.
And they can ask you anything and you have to answer.
We have to answer.
Yes.
You have to answer.
Yes. You can, social security number, mother's maiden name, credit card info, like just shoot. The sky's the
all
limit.
your security answers.
I was in the Discord, I think Friday morning. I was just in there looking around and there were some people talking about Lord of the Rings and like people were like arguing about it. And I was like, this is great.
It's like
but nicely arguing like, oh my God, that's such a great, I never even thought about that. Like, oh yeah, I see your point. And I was like, this is nice.
I actually saw a really funny Lord of the Rings meme the other day. And I'm not even a Lord of the Rings head. But it was like
is it the one that's like one does not just walk into Mordor?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Door. It was like hobbits and Lord of the Rings named their daughters Daffodil, Violet, Sunflower, but named their sons Dumpster Bag, like
Dumpster Bag,
like
Frodo.
Yeah, like Bilbo Trash, like, and it was like all these like funny names that sounded. It was funny. I'll have to find it. I'm not doing it justice.
Well, it sounds good to me.
Yeah, I loved it. Anyways, Melissa.
Yes.
What the frick is our episode on today?
So this was sent to me by my lovely husband, who it was sent to him as potentially turning it into like a TV series. And I think they are, not Martin, but someone else is turning it into like a TV show because it's like kind of a crazy story. And Martin's like, this would be a good Webcrawlers episode. And I read it. I was like, you know what? You're right.
Wow. I am so excited.
On December 16th, 2017, Paddy Moriarty, a 70-year-old man who lived in the small Australian village of Larrimah, disappeared.
Wow. I was going to say Ireland. Paddy Moriarty, I was guessing Ireland.
He's from Ireland.
Okay. Here we go. I'm all set.
And his dog, Kelly, were also never seen again. They disappeared at the same time 4 years ago.
Oh, no.
Nobody knows what the heck happened.
Oh, God.
And there are all kinds of rumors about his disappearance. Was he fed to a pet crocodile?
What?
Was he baked into a meat pie by the woman he had a years-long feud with?
Melissa.
Is one of the 11 residents of Larrimah to blame?
Oh, my God.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, please, let's.
Okay. So the night of the disappearance, Paddy Moriarty, he went to the Pink Panther, which is like the only hotel and bar in Larrimah to end his day. There's only 11 people in this town. That's how small it is. It's like the size of a city block.
That's crazy.
So he had 8 beers, which is like typical for him. That's what every night he had 8 beers. That was his thing. And then he and his dog jumped on his quad bike to ride a few hundred meters home on the other side of the Stewart Highway. And this was the last time he was seen alive. So when Paddy didn't show up to the bar for a few days and no one can get a hold of him, they called the police because he was there every day. So the police showed up to his house. His door was unlocked. His cowboy hat was there, which he never left home without his hat. His glasses were there. There were dishes still out that had uneaten food on them. And there was chicken in the microwave for his dog, like the dog's food.
Oh,
there
this
was
is weird.
No disturbance at the house. So the police believe that he voluntarily left his house because there was nothing disturbed. It was like he just left. And so the police do suspect foul play, and all 11 people in the small town were considered suspects.
Yeah, they have to be. I mean,
yeah, it's like a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
So a few of the suspects are the last person to see Paddy alive was a Pink Panther bartender. And there's also a gardener who Paddy got into a fight with just days before his disappearance.
Huh.
And then there's the owner of a roadside tea house who bakes pies, who had this like long feud with Paddy.
I don't like it.
So this town of Larrimah, it's like very secluded. The nearest grocery store is like 60 miles away.
What?
And the main road through the town has a history of murders and mysterious disappearances, including a British backpacker who vanished 17 years ago. And this town is mainly a pit stop for tourists driving from the north to the south. But it's also a place where the Aboriginal Australians refuse to live because they claim it's haunted.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, there's no cell phone service.
What?
Paddy didn't own a smartphone. He just had a landline and an answering machine, and he didn't have a computer. Like, people are just straight up off the grid here. The two main places in town to hang out are the Pink Panther pub, where he was last seen, and Fran's Devonshire Tea House. That's where all the pies come from.
Oh, no.
So Barry, who's the owner of the Pink Panther, said Paddy used to come in there every day and he like really misses him. And the Pink Panther Hotel, it's not luxurious, but it's bright pink. And the owner, Barry, kept hundreds of exotic animals out back. Mostly like birds, wallabies, snakes, lizards, and 3 crocodiles.
What the fuck?
One of these crocodiles has no eyes and is named after Ray Charles.
These people are Looney Tunes. I would watch a documentary series on this town.
There are a few out like not like Dateline, but like news type of documentaries about it that have come out. But yeah, they're making this into a TV show. So some people actually think that Paddy's body was fed to one of these crocodiles.
Oh my God.
And when the police were investigating, they did look into this saltwater crocodile named Sneaky Sam.
I mean,
but the
name fits the crime.
Sneaky Sam. I mean, a crocodile can't be sneaky. Well, no, they are sneaky.
Yes, they
when
can.
They're in water,
yes,
they're
they
sneaky.
can.
Yeah, I think they lurk.
You know what that one did to Captain Hook? Sneakiest crocodile of them all.
Until he got that clock stuck in his tummy and then he couldn't sneak up on anyone anymore.
That's true. That's very true.
That's true.
That's a very true.
That's a very true.
And the police also thought that maybe sinkholes were to blame because the area around the town is known.
What is it going to be next? Quicksand? Is this Jumanji? This is just a story of Jumanji.
Wait a minute. This is
Melissa.
Martin,
Martin's
you said
making a Jumanji TV show.
So yeah, the town has some sporadic sinkholes. They thought maybe an abandoned World War II bunker he like fell into or something. What? And it's the outback. So it's like it's hot as hell. It's just desert.
And there's steak everywhere.
Yes, there's steak everywhere. So there's snakes, birds of prey, wild pigs, wild donkeys, and buffalo could have eaten his remains or even like maybe killed him. So when they launch the search, they spent 3 days looking all through the outback. They were on vehicles, they had helicopters, and like nothing was ever found.
Sorry, I just want to interject. So he also, the night he disappeared, it's safe to say he was wasted.
I think he had 8 beers every night. That was like his usual. So the interviews, people were like, no, he wasn't too wasted. Like that's just what
he had
how many beers he
tolerance.
drank. He was
I haven't
probably
drank in so
drunk.
long. I forgot. Okay, yeah. So he was like tipsy. He was loosey goosey.
Yeah. Yeah, they spent 3 days. They searched the town dump because they're like, oh, maybe that could be a clue. And the incinerators, but they didn't find anything.
What?
And they searched the local dam. All these divers went in there. They searched it, forensic investigators. There was nothing. They assumed that, like, if him and his dog disappeared, there's got to be some sort of remains or something, but no, there's nothing. So the police said that whatever happened to Paddy Moriarty and his dog Kelly was more than likely human. Like, someone must have taken him, kidnapped him.
Oh, boy.
And it turned out some of the residents of Larrimah had been involved in a years-long feud. And because of these feuds, not everyone liked Paddy.
Uh-oh.
So one of the people who didn't like Paddy is also one of their main suspects. It's Fran Hodgetts. She's 75. She owns the tea house where she sells assorted meat pies and pastries.
Oh, God.
She sells like camel pies, buffalo pies, alligator pies, random minced meats. I've had alligator. Have you guys had alligator?
I have not.
Is it good?
Alligator tastes like chicken.
That's what they say. Everything tastes like chicken.
Yeah. I used to sell alligator.
Melissa.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just
How
stop.
could we forget?
My friend's neighbor used to have a gator meat truck, and I'd work with them, go to the fair and sell gator meat on a stick, deep fried.
I was going to say, do you fry it, right? That's how you eat it?
Yeah.
I've heard of camel milk. I feel like they tried to do that as an alternative milk for a minute.
Oh, I've never heard of that. Or camel meat. I didn't know people eat camels. That's crazy.
I didn't know that either, but yeah, camel milk I think is a thing.
Do you remember? Did you watch Bear Grylls?
No, but I know of Bear Grylls. I've just have never
slept. Didn't he sleep in a camel carcass to keep warm one night?
Makes sense.
I think that's
checks
the
out.
Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
Oh, that's Revenant. That was the bear. Where the bear tried to have sex with him. Anyway, okay. So Fran claims that her pies are world famous. And a lot of people in the town joke that Paddy was baked into her pies. They're like, oh yeah, because Fran and Paddy did not get along. They were not friends.
Oh my God.
But Paddy lived directly across the road from Fran. And he would always get annoyed when her customers would park on his property.
Oh no.
Paddy even got back at her by telling people her pies were terrible and that his dog wouldn't even eat them.
That's a good diss.
Uh-huh. And before Paddy disappeared in 2013, he actually spoke to ABC, which is the Australian public broadcast, a few times about his life in Larrimah. They were doing this, like, a story on small towns in the outback. And during this interview, he talked shit about Fran's pies. And I have an audio clip.
Oh no. What's that musical?
Sweeney Todd. Sweeney
Yeah.
Todd. That's so fun. I was about to say, Melissa, you're just telling us the story of Sweeney Todd.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
About that a bit. How does everyone get on in this little
They
town?
don't. No.
It was meant to be a colour story on a remote settlement. But by chance, Paddy told the ABC all those years ago something very interesting.
Brands has got the worst pies. I used to go over there and the dog wouldn't eat me pie.
Fran's got the worst pies.
Paddy's cool. I think that's so funny.
He's cool. He's a cool guy. So yeah, he was talking shit about her pies.
Yeah, I mean.
And then Paddy even put up a sign in front of his house that said the best pies in town were at the Larrimah Hotel, Fran's competitor,
shit.
the Pink Panther Hotel and Bar, because that guy started making pies as well.
Well, now
like,
you're
make
telling
more
us
money.
the story of 3 billboards.
Yes. Oh, man. Okay, so Fran said that Paddy would taunt her, call her names like a bush pig. And 4 days before he disappeared, She claimed that he put a kangaroo carcass outside the window of her tea house to rot in the sun, and then he laughed about it with his pals at the Pink Panther.
Oh my God.
And then one time a donkey got run over, and apparently Paddy cut off its penis and threw that up her driveway.
Excuse me?
She even tried to get a restraining order against him, but the court rejected her request because there was no evidence of any of this. So, of course, this feud led to people calling the police to tell them that, like, Fran probably killed him. They're like, oh yeah, it was Fran. Fran killed him. And Fran was not a fan of Paddy. She also, in this story, she was talking about Paddy.
So I stopped him coming here. And that's when all this trouble started. He started pinching stuff, pinching umbrellas from here and damaging me property and giving me treat and telling customers here not to come in, putting broken glass under car wheels, you know, over the parking bay because he didn't want them parking over there, and they'd pull up over there in front of his place and he'd tell them not to come in here, that nothing was homemade. And I mean, I'm not rubbishing the man. I'm only telling you it's all been reported to the police right through.
Yeah, so apparently she said he was stealing umbrellas, putting glass under car tires.
Okay, this is crazy. These people are crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. So her house ended up being searched multiple times, and the incinerators were searched, and like her ovens, but like nothing was ever found. But Fran even said, I have no idea where Paddy is, and I'm not sad that he's gone.
I mean, I don't think a guilty person would say that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they would to throw him off the trail.
Yeah. Yeah. Reverse psychology.
Let's take a quick break for announcements. Webcrawlers has a Patreon. To get access to rewards, bonus episodes, shout outs, please go to patreon.com/webcrawlers. You can donate as little as $2 a month to become one of our bimbo patrons. Also, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. If you give us a 5-star review, please. Nope, you don't actually have to screenshot it. We will just see it and we will read it on our mailbag episodes. Also, Erios has a hotline. Insert jingle here. 626-604-6262.
Erios.
Continue to call us, guys. We're behind again. You guys
oh my
have been
God,
calling.
we have so many.
So many.
Yeah, we love it.
So many.
And we also love it when you guys call 3 times in a row and just say the same thing over and over and over again. It's our we love it. We love you guys. So keep on calling. We will keep on playing. Now, back to our episode.
So the Northern Territory of Australia, the coroner held an investigation hearing and interviewed all the 10 of the locals. And so Bobby Roth, he used to wash dishes at Fran's tea house, said Fran hated Paddy and used to say, I'll kill him. And then and Bobby's husband, Carl, also said he heard Fran say bad things about Paddy as well. And then another resident who used to work for Fran, Maurice Darby, said he quit being Fran's cook because Fran was ripping customers off.
Oh, shit.
He claimed that Fran was buying pies at the supermarket, removing the filling, and replacing it with her own, and charging people $10 for a 75-cent pie. I mean, that's kind of genius.
These old folks in this town are just a bunch of scammers.
They are a bunch of scammers. It's pretty hilarious. But when Fran was questioned, she started talking about her gardener, Owen. She's like, oh, you might want to have a word with Owen because they got into a little fight just 3 days before Paddy disappeared. So Paddy's dog was in the road barking at the tea house and wouldn't stop. The dog was just there barking. So Owen got into an argument with Paddy and they were shouting, and Owen said, shut the dog up or I'll shut it up for you.
Uh-oh.
And Owen admitted that he had a bad temper, but he denied any involvement. And he also said he was joking when he told Fran, "If anyone touches my plants, it'll be the first murder in Larrimah." He was like really protective about all his plants.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And also, Owen made 2 phone calls at the payphone across from his house around 6:30 the night Paddy went missing, which would have been like the time that Paddy was heading home. But apparently the calls like didn't go through.
Interesting.
So like it's kind of suspicious. Like, who's he calling? Why is he using a payphone? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. But the police found no evidence to suggest that Fran or Owen was involved in Paddy's disappearance. So given the couple of days it took to report Paddy's disappearance, it's possible that if he wandered off, like he could have encountered a snake or had like a medical emergency of some kind, and that wild animals maybe could eat his remains. But the police are confident. They're like, we would have found something. His clothing, his dog.
Yeah, his clothing. Animals wouldn't eat his clothes.
I mean, maybe a crocodile might. Crocodiles eat anything.
A croc might, yeah.
They eat clocks.
They eat clocks.
That is a good point. Good point. So if a crocodile ate Flavor Flav, they'd eat Flavor Flav clothing and clock necklace, the whole shebang.
Yeah, they eat anything.
Yeah.
Tiger King was, they think, what's her face, fed her husband to a tiger.
Yes,
tigers eat
no
anything
Crocs.
too.
No
Yeah,
Crocs.
No Crocs. No Crocs.
It wasn't Croc King.
Croc King.
That's me when I take the dogs for a walk and I'm wearing my Guy Fieri Crocs, black with red flames.
You know, I've never owned a pair of Crocs, and I wish I did.
You know, I was literally quoted in the Wall Street Journal during quarantine talking about Crocs.
That's right.
Wow. I'm a crocosaur.
Crocosaur. Okay. So some neighbors in this town had ignored one another for more than a decade, which is crazy to me because you're in this town with 11 people. You're getting into arguments with like 1/10 of the population. It just seems crazy. Some people were yelling at each other. Some people had been banned from the pub for like being disruptive and like getting too drunk.
Oh my God.
And over the years, there have been accusations of theft, arson, murdered pets, and like mail getting steamed open. Like people snooping in on other people's mail. And there was also a rift in the Larrimah Progress Association back in the late 1990s. Because at one point, the town, they had 20 people there. They had 2 rival associations. Like the town was split down the middle. So the police have questioned everyone in Larrimah since December 2017, and everyone denies their involvement. And so Barry Sharp, the guy who owned the Pink Panther, he sold it in 2018, and he said at the time that he had terminal cancer, and then he ended up dying December 2019, the guy who owned the bar. And Fran also got diagnosed with cancer, and she left town for treatment. And she has not returned yet. So Fran's no longer there. And then this year, the police announced the reward, and they said they believe Paddy Moriarty was murdered. They believe it was murder, like something crazy happened to him. And they said large signs had been put up near Larrimah offering $250,000 for information leading to the location of his body or a conviction.
Whoa.
Yeah, the detective said, it's hard to keep a secret. Someone out there knows what happened. We want them to come forward and help us solve a murder. Crazy. This interview that people did, like on the news, they're like, oh, it's like a Wolf Creek thing. It's like the Wolf Creek thing. I'm like, what's the Wolf Creek thing?
Yeah, what is that?
So the Wolf Creek is a movie based on the backpack murders.
Is that a Sasquatch?
Is Sasquatch involved?
I honestly think there's a movie called Wolf Creek about Sasquatch.
This was about the backpack murders from 1989 to 1993, where 7 people were murdered.
Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing.
The backpack murders. I mean, Sasquatch could have been involved. So the backpack murders were these serial killings that took place in New South Wales between 1989 and 1993, committed by this murderer, Ivan Milat. So the bodies of 7 missing young people aged 19 to 22 were discovered partially buried in the Belanglo State Park, and 5 of the victims were foreign backpackers, 2 were Australians, and so this guy was convicted in 1996. He was sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences, and he died in prison, and he never confessed to any of these murders.
Interesting.
So that's what Wolf Creek is about. And then in 1955, south of Larrimah, an English migrant on a bicycle died, and it took 19 days for the police and the Aboriginal trackers to find his body under a tree. People say police estimated he died 3 days into his journey after becoming deranged and abandoning his bike, food, water, and clothes. So he's still like buried out there somewhere in the desolate countryside. And there's like hundreds of these stories of people that have like gone out on hikes or treks or like, and it's so hot out there that they just like die from the heat. They like start hallucinating. They just like, it's like,
that couple we just did.
Yeah. So they're like, maybe Paddy like.
But wasn't that at night? That was at night.
Yeah, it was at nighttime. Maybe.
And there was chicken in the microwave. It was like
his hat was still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one. The Australian police have issued a fresh appeal to help find the remains of Peter Falconio, the British backpacker murdered 20 years ago in the outback.
Wow.
He was shot dead when he and his girlfriend Joanne Lees were ambushed in 2001. His body was never found. And this Australian man, Bradley Murdoch, was found guilty of his murder in 2005. And he has refused to tell authorities where he disposed of his body. That remains like one of the most high-profile criminal cases. This pair, they'd been driving along a remote stretch of highway near Barrow Creek, about 200 miles north of Alice Springs, when they were waved down by Murdoch in an approaching car. He then shot Mr. Falconio in the head and then assaulted and tied up his girlfriend. And she managed to escape, and she hid in the bushes for 5 hours while the attacker stalked her with a dog. She eventually managed to flee to safety after flagging down a passing truck. So her boyfriend's body was never found. They say he hid it somewhere in the outback. At the trial, the judge believed he took the body in his car and dumped it somewhere in the outback in Western Australia, but people have never found it. And so in 2016, the Northern Territory government even brought in a no body, no parole law aimed at pressuring Murdoch to reveal this body's whereabouts. So if you don't say where the body is, you can't be eligible for parole. So that's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, so I'm thinking why maybe like Paddy's dog like got out and was like chasing after something, and then he like went out to like go get the dog. I don't know. I really don't know.
That makes sense. Or maybe like who's the woman across the street? Fran. Maybe she lured the dog out or something like that. Or he was cooking dinner for the dog, couldn't find the dog, saw the dog dead or something, or Fran had done it, and then he came over. I you know what? I don't know.
And then the gardener killed him.
Yeah, I like literally don't have a theory. This is so crazy. How did these people even get to this town? Like, it's so small. Are you born here? Like, what happens?
Paddy was from Ireland, and he came over when he was like 16, like on a boat, and ended up just like moving up there. It's really crazy how you end up in like these tiny ass towns.
Like, whenever there's a small town like this, I'm always like, okay, so are they devil worshippers? Is it a cult?
No, because they all hated each other.
Right. Yeah. So, God,
yeah,
I don't know. This is
bizarre. And like tourists do come through that area, like on their way from the north to the south. So like maybe a random murderer just like came through and like saw Paddy walking with his dog. I don't know.
I'm
The police
stumped.
think it's a murder. So, I don't know.
I'm stumped. Well,
I'm stumped too.
if you've ever been through this town, if you've ever been to the Pink Panther pub, if you've ever eaten a camel pie,
Fran's pies.
if you've eaten one of Fran's pies, please let us know. Melissa, where can people reach us?
You can email us at webcrawlerspod@gmail.com.
Well, I am Allie. Get off my lawn, Seagull.
I'm Melissa Minced Meat Pies Stetton. Gross.
And I'm producer. Crocodiles are crazy.
Yes.
They eat flux.
Lasucci.
That's a good shirt. We should make a crocodiles are crazy shirt, and then it's a crocodile just being like that on it. Yeah. Okay, I'll write that down. All right, bye guys.
An Erios original.
Powered by Acast.